Hello, everybody. I believe we're live. This is Laura Eisenhower. I'm joined today by Agi Nost, and we have some cool things to share with you today. We are launching something that has been in the works for quite some time, and I just want to discuss a little bit how this idea came up and how we've collaborated on this. And basically what this is it's an online conference called Council of Thought Leaders, New Information for an Emerging World. And we're going to go into a little bit more than just that, but this is something that we have planned for September 8th. It's an all-day event, and you can find the link in the description. And it comes with the donation, which really helps to support all of our research and work. And it's a very, very significant online conference. And I just want to hand it over to you, Agi. We both came up with this. We've been bouncing back some ideas, but this was one that you presented to me that was something that we had discussed about in the past, but just kind of share with the audience what your vision is, what your intention is for this, and then I'll share a little bit about mine and how this kind of came up and what you see an event like this and its intention could do for the planet right now and humanity.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, we've been talking about this for a while and kind of brainstorming it with other people. And I think that we are coming up with something that's really going to make a difference, because what we're going through here now is we got still hanging on to some old information that may be outdated, but there's new information coming out, both from the galactics, from here, from our mind, and from what everything is going on in our lives out there. And this is now starting to take on a life of its own, and we have speakers put together that will talk of this life of its own. And we have I think we're going to talk about the schedule and who it is speaking here shortly. But for what I have in mind, for what I want to talk about, it's going to be something that'll I want people to walk away saying, I really got something out of this. This I can use in my life to make my life better. I want to talk a little bit about the universe. What is it? How do we understand it to be? And also, how do we interact with it and communicate with it so we can benefit from the knowledge and information and the wisdom that is out there in the field? How can we get that and use it? And also I want to talk about something that 𝗏𝘆 and I have put together a few years ago. It's a mastermind group. And this is something that it doesn't have to be on a grand scale. A mastermind can be created right in your family. A mastermind is composed by people that basically want the same thing. And within a family, most families want the same thing, you know? So you can create a mastermind by just a few people. And when you're synchronizing your minds, you can do amazing things, because in this mastermind that we and Ori and I and all the other people are doing every Sunday, we are bending the laws of physics. And we are doing things that should not happen according to physics and science, but it does. And this is happening now more and more often. So I want to talk about how you can benefit from this by creating your own mastermind. That could be for church groups, that could be for ball clubs, to be families, or just a bunch of people get together, or come and check out what we're doing. And I also want to talk a little bit about this thing that is talked about a lot lately, and that is the Ascension Process. Where do we go to? Why now? Because there's many theories on what's going on here. Some people say, yeah, sure, Ascension, nah. But there's something going on that is hard to wrap our heads around, and there is actually a science to this. and it can be explained. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that so people can understand this raising of consciousness that we are going through. And I think this is going to be very good. And I also want to talk a little bit about extraterrestrial presence, ET. ET, or the extraterrestrial presence, have a finger in what's going on right now. They're trying to educate us to understand what is happening. All we really have to do is to listen. And I think we got two other speakers that will talk intelligently on that on this forum. So I think that is something that's going to be benefiting people a lot, because they'll supplement the previous understanding that they have with new information that has been gotten from many different sources. Now is combined into this conference.
Awesome. Great. So I'll share a little bit of what I'll be talking about. And hold on a second. Let me make sure that we're both on the screen here. Yeah, I mean, this is really about how to move forward. It's very solution-based. It's been a very difficult last couple of years for everybody, but it was all already brewing under the surface. These plans have been in place for a long time. Now it's very much, you know, in our face. And I've talked a lot in presentations about the override frequency and about ascension as an inner initiation and something that we achieve on the inside as we win the war on consciousness within. We have to break our relationship with the old paradigm and with any dependency we have on the parasitic system, and how we need to move beyond caring what other people think, being in survival, making decisions from a place of survival and the fight or flight, where we're not very empowered, and we might be compromising ourselves for the sake of that paycheck. And it takes a lot of courage for people to take that step to move away from whatever job or career or relationships are holding them to this vampiric system, and where we don't realize that we might be enabling an artificial timeline and a future that isn't very desirable for our human species. So it's really about recognizing where we need to move forward, where we need to release ourselves from this attachment to what these false narratives and psyops are seeking to trigger in us, so that we remain in a fear mode and look to outer authority to solve our issues, when this ascension window is all about becoming empowered, recognizing that we're our own healers and that we can co-create the future and manifest the organic ascension timeline by standing in alignment with our own truth frequency, our own authenticity, and willingness to move through these initiations, no matter how difficult they get. So I'll be going into that a lot. Basically, I'm talking about igniting the warrior mission, aligning with truth, organic ascension, and reconnection to guardians in 0-point unified field, and the healing transformative energies from the Mother, Arc, and Cosmic Trinity codes that exist within our DNA, the planetary grid network, and multidimensional cosmos. I will help us to do all the necessary work we need to do to become fully whole and sovereign. I'll help us to understand the current astrological climate so we can work with this and feel supported. I'll also expose what they are doing to sabotage our ability to move through these critical initiations. I'll also do a Q&A. So because of their knowledge of the occult, a lot of this is weaponized. They will function in attaching us to the lower octaves of the planetary alignments and the planetary energies, so that we don't initiate and we end up giving our power away. Any kind of initiation is a bit of a rite of passage. It's definitely always pretty uncomfortable. It involves a little bit of pain and sometimes symptoms, but when we can embrace the adversity, when we can look at it for what it truly is, we recognize that we're spiritual athletes. We can overcome these obstacles and adversities and rescue our treasures in the face of this, instead of hand it over to somebody else who might not have our best interests at mind, who might be looking to exploit us or take advantage of our vulnerabilities and our amnesia, since we are born sort of forgetting our galactic memories and our past lives. And right from the get-go, there's just so much indoctrination. And we need to overcome that. We need to help future generations. We need to be responsible in our role as guardians and stewards of this planet, of this Mother Earth, and also of humanity and future generations and our children. So that's what I'll be talking about. And let's look over the list of all the other speakers. And then I'm going to hand it to you, Agi, to talk a little bit about what Dan Willis and John Souza will be discussing, maybe a little bit about their bio. And then I'll talk about some of the other speakers like Elena and Charnel and Neil, and you can also mention Nori Love, who is somebody that you collaborate with, who will also be a speaker. So let's start with you, 𝗁𝗂𝗍𝗍, or should we go down the list of who's speaking first based on our...
Yeah, why don't you read the schedule so that people can know that? That would be a good place to start, probably.
Okay, so I know that 11 a.m. we're starting with, actually, we're starting for the first 15 minutes, you and I are introducing, and then Neil Gar will be sharing for the rest of that hour up until 11 a.m., which Dr. Charnel will be speaking then. So I'll talk a little bit about Neil, then Charnel, and then I'll hand it over to you. So Neil Gar is the founder of Portal to Ascension, a conscious event production company created in 2008 that hosts a wide range of presenters on a variety of topics, such as the origins of humanity, the existence of extraterrestrial life, exposing hidden truths, and exploring the nature of reality. And I'm going to be going into ET stuff too, as far as how it relates to the higher harmonic universes in our DNA. So we have a lot of common threads that will help the listener to connect some dots and see how we're all bringing in similar themes. Anyway, Neil travels the world facilitating gatherings and filming documentaries that are intended to empower the individual, reclaim their sovereignty, and awaken to their full potential. So he always participates as well and puts together some really great performances and presentations. And he does this spoken word, some incredible poetry that is just amazing. And I don't know if he'll be sharing this time around, but not only is he the producer of these kind of events, he's also a speaker. So we're starting the morning off with him after 𝗁𝗂𝗍𝗍 and I introduce. And then we have Charnel, Dr. 𝗂𝗪𝗪 Wolverton, and she's a naturopathic doctor and speaker and author. And I know she just sent me information about what she'll be speaking on. And we're going to be updating the event page because it doesn't quite have that yet, but she did send this to me, and let me just share a few words. She will be talking about our using shifting energies for our highest benefit and shifting energies to help us to thrive. And so basically she's asking us the questions. Have you been feeling the energies as of late? Have you been emotional, drained, confused, anxiety ridden? Dr. Chanel will discuss how to use the current energies as a springboard for our highest human potential. This is our day to triumph, but the key is in knowing how to do it. Join us and find out. So Dr. Charnel is always empowering in her message. We'll update the landing page so that it reflects the talk themes that she'll be discussing. So the next person we have is myself, and I already talked about what I'll be sharing. And at 1 o'clock, let me just get that up on the screen here. 1 o'clock is our next speaker. And hold on, I just have to find that.
That's John D'Souza.
Okay, so go ahead and share about John D'Souza.
Yeah, John D'Souza lived right in Tucson with me, and we become good friends over the last about 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And I have gone to quite a few of his meetings here in town, and there is new information coming out that it seems like he only shares in these private group meetings. And John D'Souza, he is retired from the FBI, and obviously he's got some solid contacts there still. And he is talking about some of there are several things that he has talked about before it happened. So I don't know where he get the information there, but it seems to come. And also he has sources. So when he talk about something, I listen. And I don't have his bio in front of me here, but I think what we're going to do, Laura, is one more promotional video. And I'm going to ask John if he can join us on that one, because that could be interesting. He could probably talk a little bit more about it even before the conference, because he has sources. And he basically tells me, don't worry, it's going to be okay. What we are going through right now seems so scary if you look at everything. But, fear is only organized negative thinking. And so I don't engage that a lot, but he is coming to the same place too. It looks scary, but it's going to be all right, because people are rising up. They are forcing their way to the side of the light instead of the darkness that is kind of hanging around Washington and a few other places.
Right.
So John D'Souza is going to be giving some new information about things that is happening and why, as well as what will be happening. So this is going to be good for him.
Right. And if you look at the landing page, it actually has his talk description and his bio, and you can check that out. I'll put the link in the description. Yep. I'll also pin the link, and you can see his talk title is Surviving and Thriving 2023. And if you look under his name, you'll see his bio and his talk description. But I know you've said enough. You can find out more. Yes, he's a good friend of mine too. We've done some events together, traveled China together, and he always brings incredible stuff to the table. He has an incredible background. So check out the landing page and you'll see more information. And again, it'll be updated with some of the talk titles that aren't listed yet. And the next speaker that we have is Dan Willis. Dan Willis starts at 2 p.m. Pacific time. So why don't you share a bit about Dan Willis?
Yeah, I become a good friend with Dan Willis too. And I talked to him here this morning on the telephone, and I asked him, what are you going to talk about? And he says, well, I'll have a surprise for you. And he wants to call his lecture The Matrix. And I know he is the right guy to talk about that, because he has all studied an awful lot of things that is going on. The Matrix is more or less a little more esoteric, but the effects of it is in the physical, in our face, and is going on right now. So that's what he wanted to talk about. And he also, he wanted to say something about crystals, because a lot of people, they kind of say, yeah, crystals, they're nice, they're cute, you know, but what do? Nah, nothing. Well, the thing about it is that wiser people than me, they have said and made the statement that crystals meet the qualification of the definition of life. So there is life in crystals, because he wants to talk a little bit more about that, as far as I can understand, because you can put information into a crystal, it organizes itself, and you receive information back from the crystal, with additions that may come from the field. This goes back to intelligence. Intelligence is a form of life. So Dan's lecture is going to be really interesting, because he's coming up with some new stuff that we need to hear.
That's awesome. And everybody know that if you sign up for it, even if you can't make it, you can get the replay, which means that you can play it again and again and again. It's something that you can keep for the long term and really sit with it and really integrate the information. So that's awesome. The next person that we have is Elena Danaan, and her talk time is 3 p.m. Pacific time. And I know a lot of you are familiar with Elena. She is an archaeologist, best-selling author, and extraterrestrial contactee. And in this talk, she will unveil the hidden truth about the origins of mankind and talk us through the traps that have been set along the way to halt the blossoming of our species. She will also go beyond the present times to share with us her vision of the future for this planet. In this talk description, or in the, the event landing page, you can also see her bio. Very interesting background. She studied fine arts and archaeology in Paris and spent 20 years of her life as a field archaeologist in Egypt and in France with Neolithic, Celtic, and Gallo-Roman cultures. With a university degree in Egyptian religion, she also had the privilege to be trained locally in traditional Egyptian magic. And I know a lot of you are familiar with her books. She wrote the book about Valthor called We Will Never Let You Down. I wrote the foreword to that. And then the first book she wrote about her abduction experiences and how she was rescued by a Pleiadian named Thorhan. And the title of that book, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's a really incredible book. And she's coming out with a third book. I don't know if you remember the name of her first book, but regardless, I know a lot of people are familiar with her information. And it's very interesting, our relationship, because she has shared a lot about MJ-12 signing the ET government treaties behind Eisenhower's back. And she got a lot of direct communication from folks like Valthor that validated this on top of a lot of other people. So it's very interesting working with her over the years and how our dots have connected. So it's always incredible to hear what she has to say. And she's going to be our speaker at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Next speaker, we have 𝗠𝘰 Love at 4 p.m. And you've been collaborating with her for a really long time. So why don't you share with us a bit about 𝗠𝘰, maybe a little bit about her bio and what she'll be sharing at the event.
Yeah, I've actually had the honor of being a partner on a radio show with 𝗠𝘰 for, gosh, I think it's about close to 5 years now. We've done 311 shows together weekly, so that's quite a bit. And I don't want to talk for her, but I can say a few things about her. She is a hypnotherapist. She is a double certified law of attraction coach, and she's a healer. She is a third degree master Reiki practitioner and a teacher. And she does classes, and she is definitely multidimensional because first of all, when she says something, it is well researched and she knows what she's talking about. And I would say 𝗠𝘰 probably will be talking about healing and Reiki. And also, she is doing something with hypnosis that I haven't heard anybody else do. And she's going to explain how this could work a little bit, I think, because she can take people forward in time. Under hypnosis, she take them forward in time to meet themselves and have a conversation with themselves. I don't know, maybe get advice, or I don't know how that would work, but this is something that she can explain, and this is what she helps people to do. And I don't have her bio in front of me either, so I'll ask her to be at the next promotional video that we do, so maybe we could explain a little more.
And it's on the landing page. And I'll just share a few words. 𝗠𝘰 is a healing artist innately, magnetically, and spiritually. She is drawn to those awakening in consciousness and to assist as a loving catalyst for those who are ready. And you can read the rest of her bio if you check out the landing page. And it's nice and many words there about her. And on the landing page, most everybody has their talk title. Some will be updated. So check back in about a day or two. Definitely register and know that you'll have replays and that the donation really helps us to continue with this kind of work. And we really appreciate those that are able to attend. And so I know that you're the next speaker. We talked a little bit about both of us and what we're going to be sharing in our talk time. So maybe if you have any more to add, you're our 5 o'clock slot. And then after that, we have a panel for 2 hours between the hours of 6 and 8 p.m. Pacific time. And any speaker is welcome to be at the panel. I'm pretty sure most of us are going to attend the panel, and it's going to be kind of an overview. We'll ask questions that we can all answer to sort of thread together and connect the dots of all the information we'll be presenting throughout the day. So that's a good way to end with a 2-hour panel. But any words that you want to share about your talk or your bio that you didn't share in the beginning, even though we sort of introduced with a bit of information about ourselves, any final words you want to say about your time slot, which is at 5 p.m. Pacific?
Yeah, it starts at 5 and goes on 6, and then 6 to 8, we're going to do the good stuff.
It's always fun getting together for a panel.
The reason I'm saying that is because, first of all, we have questions and answers. So you, the listener, can actually interact with us and ask us questions about things that absolutely anything. It could be not necessarily on what we talked about. It could be other things. Another good thing about the panel is, if I forgot to say something in my lecture, I could remember it in the question and answer session, and then I could bring it up to add to what I spoke about earlier. And a lot of speakers do that because there's always stuff we forget that we can remember later and then bring it up.
And it's always fun to bounce off of each other because it helps to bring in just even, more. The interaction is always so important. So we always make sure when we do these online events that we end with a panel where everybody's included. So each person has an hour talk time. Some will have Q&A. And it's all very forward thinking. It's all about solutions. It's very inspiring. And I think everybody will walk away feeling very encouraged about our future and how we can co-create a beautiful future for ourselves and unhook from where our creative channels are being infected by artificial timelines and psyops and false narratives that we do not need to participate in or enable. So it's really about being able to self-reflect, and it inspires people to really do that extra shadow work so that we can embody our truth frequency and our highest human potential. Anything you want to say to close before we say goodbye?
I think I have said what I needed to say this time around. There will be more to say in a few days. I think we talked about Monday, didn't we? Or
Yes.
maybe another.
Yes, I believe we are doing 4 p.m. Mountain Time on Monday. We're going to bring in some other speakers to discuss this online event, and it starts on the 8th. So yeah, that's just next week. So hopefully you can mark your calendars. And again, if you're not able to make it, you will be sent the replay and you will be able to still view it, even if you can't show up on the 8th. And it's well worth it. It's very important that we stay inspired and empowered. These are great reminders that we can all tap into and begin to illuminate and embody so that we can walk together towards the future and have a lot to look forward to and also celebrate. It's been very difficult, but it's in our hands to take our power back. And this ascension window is something in our own divine blueprint and birthright. And it's very important that we embrace it and never forget the truth of who we really are and what we're capable of doing as a humanity in unity consciousness and mutual love and respect. Despite our differences are a blessing because true oneness is diversity and harmony. So take what resonates and leave the rest, and make sure that you see this as an opportunity to truly activate and step into what your truth is so that you can be embodied as the divine human that you are. So I guess that's good.
Absolutely. Just come and join us, because a lot of new information is going to come out here that you probably never heard before. And this is going to be important for you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Augie. We'll see you on Monday. And hopefully everybody, you'll join us on the 8th. And yes, you'll have a chance to interact and ask us questions, and look forward to seeing you there. And I'm feeling very encouraged about the future. So much is coming through that I look forward to sharing, and very much new information as well as the rest of you guys. So I really look forward to it. Thanks, Augie, for joining me tonight. I'll see you on Monday, and I'll see you guys on the 8th if you're able to make it.
Okay.
Okay.
Live long and prosper.
Yep.